What's good, everybody? It's your boy Q here with TheWavMan to teach you guys everything about EQs. Today, techniques, theories, mindset. We're gonna get y'all vocals from sound like this.
Making love is the end of discussion. You are not bluffing. Think about cuffing.
Something like this.
Making love is the end of discussion. You are not bluffing. Think about cuffing. You gotta know it's your man, but you trust it. Who you trust that girl? I told you.
All here today. Let's get into it. What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another Wave Monopoly tutorial where today, like we said before, we're going to be teaching you everything you need to know about EQing your vocals properly, all right? This is very important, if not one of the most important steps when it comes to EQing your vocals to fit your track, to find its space, to find its texture within the mix that you guys are laying down, guys. This is very important, and I know a lot of you guys are new to this. A lot of you guys are advanced, and might already know this, but we're going to go over this today, guys. Everything you need to know about EQs, techniques, theories, mindset. Let's get into it, man. So what we're looking at right now is a demo that I recorded. This literally is stripped down, guys. No EQ whatsoever. We basically stripped down the whole template and left it with just enough compression so we can have something workable. All right, guys, let's get right into it. Let's listen to it right now.
Love is the end of discussion. You are not bluffing. Think about cuffing. You gotta know it's your man, but you trust it. Who you trust that girl? I told you.
All right, guys, as you can hear, the vocal is leveled pretty well, but what we can hear right now is that the vocal is not sitting within this beat. It sounds like it has a lot of bad frequencies. It doesn't quite sit within the track. What we're kind of hearing is standing out frequencies, okay? And what we're gonna go over with you guys today is showing you guys how to properly EQ this vocal so that it can sit inside the mix, feel intertwined with the track, and just find a nice medium to where our vocals are cutting, but not harsh, all right? We want them to cut, but not harsh, and we want them to kind of feel like they have their own space within the frequency range, all right, guys? So let's get right into it. The first thing we're gonna do, guys, is get an EQ. Now, what we're gonna be using right now for the sake of this tutorial, we're gonna be using the F6, all right? F6 from waves.com. This is a super powerful plugin, super powerful EQ, but let's get right into it. I don't wanna hold you guys up. Let's get it, man. Now, when it comes to EQing vocals, there are some common frequency rules of thumb. All right, guys? Now, these are rules, but we all know in audio, when it comes to rules, you break those, all right? But what I'm going to do right now, guys, is explain to you the common rules to where most likely in every vocal, there's going to be these ranges that either have certain characteristics, all right? And what we're going to do is go ahead and understand the mindset of what these characteristics entail so that we're able to make decisions about how we want them to be affected through this EQ, all right? EQing vocals, EQing anything is just a bunch of decisions that you say yes, no, maybe so. Whenever you either boost or cut, these decisions can always be overturned later as you continue to mix. Let's get into it. The first common thing that we're going to want to do, guys, is roll off the lows. When you're recording in a room, the mic will pick up rumbles, AC, all types of different low frequencies that can kind of find its way into the track. So that's what we're going to do first, guys, is roll off the lows, all right? Now, common ranges that we like to roll off lows from, anywhere from about 50 to, I would say, in the hundreds hertz range, all right, guys? So let's go ahead and listen to this vocal and go ahead and roll these off, all right? So we're going to engage our roll off. Let's go ahead, turn this Q all the way to 24 because we want it to be super tight. So we roll everything off. Let's get into it.
Love is the end of discussion. Love is the end of discussion. You are not bluffing. Think about cuffing. You gotta know it's your man, but you trust it. Who you trust that girl? I told you.
Now, as you can hear, this already is starting to make our vocals start to stand out a little bit, all right? It's taking those lows out, which automatically is gonna kind of give us a presence of clarity, all right? Getting rid of those lows, all right? Let's go ahead and hear it with and without the lows, all right? Let's get into it. Without.
Love is the end of discussion. You are not bluffing. Think about cuffing. You gotta know it's your man, but you trust it. Who you trust that girl? I told you.
Very simple, but very necessary. That's the first thing. Roll off your lows. especially if you're kind of dealing with a proximity effect, guys. This is a technique that you can use to really kind of fix and rehash that problem right there. Roll off your lows. So a tip that I'm going to give to a lot of you beginners, do it backwards, okay? So when I say this, I say start about 250, 300 hertz. And then what we're going to do is listen to the vocal and dial it back to where it starts to sound a little bit more natural, okay? Let's get into it.
Getting love is to end the discussion. You are not bluffing. Thinking about cuffing. You gotta know I ain't your man, but you trusting. Who you trusting? Girl, I told you.
Just like that, all right? Now, the next common problem that happens when recording vocals is there is a boomy range, all right? There's a certain mud frequency that is very common in most vocal mic pickups, all right? So when I say this falls within, I would say, anywhere from 150 to 300 or even the 500 range, all right? Depending on what we're talking about. But right now, we're going to try to get rid of the boomy frequency area, all right? In the lows, all right? So what we're going to do right now, guys, is surgical EQing. Basically, if you're a Modern Warfare person, bro, we're playing search and destroy. We're looking for bad frequencies, and we're going to want to cut them and allow the good ones to flourish, all right? In order to search for these bad frequencies, we're going to over-exaggerate the frequency band. So what we're going to do is throw our gain up. We're going to throw our gain way up so that we can over-accentuate the frequency range, and we're going to make our Q a lot thinner, okay? We're going to make it really thin so that we can be really precise as we search this EQ band. So we're going to start looking from 150, about 150 to 300, and we're going to listen for that boomy range. Let's get it.
Getting love is to end the discussion. You are not bluffing. Thinking about cuffing. You gotta know I ain't your man, but you trusting. Who you trusting? Girl, I told you. Don't play it.
So right now, as you can hear, we hear this boomy range in the 253 hertz range, all right? This frequency is carrying that boxy. It's kind of starting to even, you can hear the resonance start to kind of shimmer. You can hear it shaking that boominess, all right, guys? Now, what we're going to go ahead and do is cut this, all right? We're going to pretty dramatically cut this. Let's go ahead and bring the gain down. And we're going to cut this frequency, all right? Let's just do it about -5 dB. Listen now as I play this with and without, and hear the clarity start to enter our vocal. Let's get it.
Getting love is to end the discussion. You are not bluffing. Thinking about cuffing. You gotta know I ain't your man, but you trusting. Who you trusting? Girl, I told you. Don't play those games you played with lame girl.
Just starts to add clarity to our vocal, all right? Now, in the same way that we did that, we're going to want to find another boomy range that I mostly find in my vocals around the 500 hertz range. It gets kind of boxy. So we're going to use our second band, and we're going to roll it all the way up to around 500, like I said. And we're going to search about 100 hertz down, 100 hertz up, listen, and get rid of the boxy vocals. Search and destroy. Another game of search and destroy. Add the Q, and let's get it.
Getting love is to end the discussion. You are not bluffing. Thinking about cuffing. You gotta know I ain't your man, but you trusting. Who you trusting? Girl, I told you. Don't play those games.
As you can hear, you kind of hear that resonance come again. You hear that resonance coming. We want to get rid of that.
Getting love is to end the discussion. You are not bluffing. Thinking about cuffing. You gotta know I ain't your man, but you trusting. Who you trusting? Girl, I told you. Don't play those games you played with lame.
Beautiful. Bring clarity into our track, and that's what we're looking for. Now, the next range that we're going to talk about is kind of like the core of our vocal, all right? This is where, you know, that middle sitting, and it brings that little presence into the vocal. Now, I find this range between the 1000 to about 2000 hertz range. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to add a little bit of presence in the core of our vocals so we can bring a little bit more of that power and presence out into the vocal. Let's get into it.
Getting love is to end the discussion. You are not bluffing. Thinking about cuffing. You gotta know I ain't your man, but you trusting. Who you trusting? Girl, I told you. Don't play those games.
Now let's hear how that sounds with and without the 200 hertz range where it adds that presence in our vocal. Let's hear it.
Getting love is to end the discussion. You are not bluffing. Thinking about cuffing. You gotta know I ain't your man, but you trusting. Who you trusting? Girl, I told you. Don't.
Now, as you can hear, it does that little bit, but it adds a certain presence, more of a feel of being more assertive in the track. And that's all we're looking for when we're adding such a small boost of just about 1 dB of boost at the 2000 hertz range. So what I'm going to be doing right now, guys, is looking for a bit of that harshness in the vocal. There's bad frequencies where you can almost kind of hear a whistling going on in the vocal, and we're going to want to take that out right now. Let's get into it.
Making love is the end of discussion. You are not bluffing. Think about cuffing. You gotta know I ain't your man, but you trusting. Who you trusting? Girl, I told you. Don't play those games you played with. Like, girl, I ain't the same. Girl, you know. Hey. Why don't you come round my way? Can't undo mistakes that I made, baby. You want me to beg for it, gon' break a leg for it.
Now, right here, just below the 4K hertz range, guys, we're hearing a little bit of that whistling that I was just warning you about. So what we're going to want to do right now is go ahead and take that out. And as we take this out, you're going to hear the vocal kind of smoothing out. So let's go ahead and get rid of this. All right. Now, what you're going to hear right now is I'm going to have it turned off. And then I'm going to have it turned on and listen to how the vocal kind of smooths out because we're taking out some of that harshness in that frequency range. Let's get into it.
Making love is the end of discussion. You are not bluffing. Think about cuffing. You gotta know I ain't your man, but you trusting. Who you trusting? Girl, I told you. Don't play those games you played with. Like, girl, I ain't the same. Girl, you know. Hey.
Very simple, guys. It just smooths out the vocal by getting rid of those bad frequencies. Now, next is we want to bring some air. We want to open up this vocal. Finally, we subtractively EQ this vocal. We are getting clarity. We're getting natural sounding vocal. Let's go ahead and open up this vocal. Add some sparkle, add some air, add some presence, and just add breath and overall just freshness to this track. So we can find this range at the 10K and up range, okay? So let's go ahead and do that right now. We're going to go to the 10K range and we're going to boost it, not too much, but we're just going to boost it to give it enough presence to really cut through this mix. Let's get into it.
Making love is the end of discussion. You are not bluffing. Think about cuffing. You gotta know I ain't your man, but you trusting. Who you trusting? Girl, I told you. Don't play those games you played with. Like, girl, I ain't.
Now, as you can hear, let's go ahead and hear this on and off and just listen how this opens up this vocal, gives it air and presence, and just breathes life into this vocal to cut through this mix. Let's get into it. Off and then on.
Making love is the end of discussion. You are not bluffing. Think about cuffing. You gotta know I ain't your man, but you trusting. Who you trusting? Girl, I told you. Don't play those games you played with. Like, girl, I ain't the same. Girl, you know. Hey.
All right. Now, it is very easy to go overboard, guys, and throw your gain all the way up here. You're going to hear how harsh this begins to get. When we add too much,
Making love is the end of discussion. You are not bluffing. Think about cuffing. You gotta know I ain't your man, but you trusting. Who you trusting? Girl, I told you.
All right, guys. Now, really quick pro tip that I really want to give you guys is the same way that we did a low roll off, there can be a high roll off as well. Now, if you're experiencing in your vocals that you have a lot of high and bad frequencies that you're hearing and you want your vocals just a little bit more warmer, you're getting too much of that high frequency, do not be afraid to roll off a little bit of the highs to about 18K, guys. This will just smoothen out your vocals in the high end range just a little bit more to kind of tame those vocals and give you more of a natural sound. Let's hear how it sounds with this high end roll off and with it not on, all right? Reminder, these are just a bunch of decisions that you have to make for your track that sounds best to you, all right? Let's hear it with it off and it on.
Making love is the end of discussion. You are not bluffing. Think about cuffing. You gotta know I ain't your man, but you trusting. Who you trusting? Girl, I told you. Don't play those games you played with. Like, girl, I ain't the same. Girl, you know. Hey, why don't you come round my way? Can't undo mistakes that I made, baby.
that's how you properly EQ your vocals. See you next time. This is WaveMonopoly.com. It's your boy Q. Next time, you already know what time it is, man. Dunzos!